All right, what's up, everybody? We got the 14 Silverado back up, full drive, popping. So we're taking it apart to see. As you just seen, I tried to look down in the through the seal and down into the housing to see what was going on. We can't locate the scope. I ordered a new scope, but it hasn't got here yet. So we're gonna drop the differential. Of course, you got to take the whole front end apart to get these differentials out, and we'll get it out and tear it apart and see where we're at.
Trying to see what's in there. Don't have my scope. Ring gear and spider gears look fine. That's all I can see.
All right, guys. Differential is out. I'm going to break it open and inspect it. So I think it has to do with the pinion shaft. The pinion shaft has some movement. Let me flip it over here. Yep, that's definitely where it's at. That's where the problem's at. We just have to get in there and see. All right, guys, we got the differential apart, and just like I figured, it is the pinion. I don't know if the crush sleeve, the pinion was hitting right there on the outside of the spider gear housing. So that's the problem. So hopefully we can either get a new crush sleeve or see if I can get this one torqued down to where it'll sit right. So clean it all up, see if we can get it all the metal shavings and everything out. So to be continued. All right, so got the differential back inside, cleaned out cleaning out some of it. Just took these bolts out, the passenger side of the differential. As you can see, we got lots of metal shavings in there. And that's put a brand new solenoid in it. Be careful with this gasket. Be really easy with these as I drop it. So what we're gonna do, just take these apart, spray everything out, brake cleaner, clean it out real good. Get this housing cleaned out. Brake cleaner always works good working on vehicles, especially to clean stuff, get oil, anything off stuff. It'll do the job. All right, so we're gonna get all this finished, get this stuff cleaned up, get all the shavings out, make sure everything is completely cleaned out, no questions asked. And we'll be back here in a few, and we're gonna start getting it back together. We got our new pinion crush sleeve. We got a new pinion nut. and our thread locker. I was going to take a chance, but the crush sleeves and pinion nuts are supposed to be one-time use only. So don't want to take that chance. You know, some people do. There's a lot of people out there that say I at least reuse them once or twice, but no. We're going to do the pinion preload, make sure it's all set. Should be good to go. So we'll be back here in a few. We'll start putting it together. All right, everybody. We're going to take this pinion out. Here's yoke and pinion. Just looking at this old one. Doesn't look like this one had the, usually they have the crimp marks on them. We'll compare this one. Hopefully y'all can see it good to the new one. As you can see from top and bottom here on the new one, see the flat spots in it? They always have flat spots, that's why they're one-time use. Yeah, you can use them again with Loctite. I'm gonna put Loctite on this one new, but this other one does not have the flat spots. And I guarantee you, that's what the problem was. Figures. But the new one does have the flat spots, one-time use. Then here's our 8 1/4 IFS ring gear. Here's our crush sleeve. So I'm going to press this one out of here. All right, get the puller tool down. Be back in a second. All right, everybody, we gotta get this puller. All right, everybody, we gotta get this puller set up so we can pull this pinion off here. Boom, that's all it took. Those are easy. Easy peasy on that. So now we'll diagnose this. I think everything's good. We just got to get the crush sleeve out of there, put the new one in, put everything back together. We should be good to go. Because of these Icon puller sets, man, they're the best I've ever had. So everything else looks good in here. What'd you say? Open the freezer. It's on the top left. I just put it back in there because I didn't know what we was going to do. All right, so put that new one in, new nuts on. I'll put a little bit of red Loctite on it. We're going to torque it down. Got to be careful, especially with this torque, this impact. So you take your, you want to take your driveline torque wrench, hook it to it, and then go 1 revolution. That one's only at, it's about 12. So 14 to 19 is where it needs to be. So let's test it one more time. Yeah, so we need to go a little bit, just a tiny bit. God, those bull rings are crazy. Reset to 0. Oh, I hit the cardboard. Hold on. Reset back to 0. And it's about 12. We still need just a hair. Yeah, that probably did a hair too much, but as long as we're between specs. Yeah, we jumped up to like 40. These things are so meticulous. Oh, 1, 2, 3. We're at like 30. Oh, man. Yeah, it's good resistance, good spin. We're just a hair over on the torque, but I think that's going to be good. So, all right, we're going to get to putting this thing back together and get it all filled up. Put it back in and get it all filled up with gear oil. But I'll be back here in a few. All right, so pinion gear, bearing, crush sleeve. Oh, that's good. Ring gear, spider gears. I think it's good. All right, put back in the passenger side. That looks good. Bearings and that look good. Fixing to have me a good workbench so I can do stuff like this. You know, I've got the metal table over there, and we've still got bits and pieces of the toolboxes we got to get put together, get it mounted together. But going to have me at least, I don't know, 4 to 8 foot workbench right here. And one side of it's going to have, you know, where I can build differentials. It's going to have holes drilled in it and stuff like that, and have clamps so I can do this stuff a lot easier. So we'll get better as time goes on. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. It's good. I think everything's lined up good. Got my actuator and everything's lined up. Come on, gasket. It's really hard to do this by yourself also, so. Let's see, so on this side we go short bolts. And on this, when you're putting it back together, the reason these two bolts are pink, because they're the short bolts, and they go on this side. That's why they're marked there and there. Because the bracket that holds the front diff, one of the brackets that holds it into the frame, that has a bushing support, it actually uses these 3 bolts on this side as part of the support. So we don't put them in right now because it has to go in the truck first. But we'll get these 2 at least torqued down to specs, and then we'll get the rest of it put together. Be back here in a second. All right, guys. So we just put the gasket on, and then set your other half of the housing on. Put all your bolts in. Make sure you line everything up. Always go in a crisscross pattern, like I've said in previous videos, on everything. Doesn't matter if you're doing wheel, it doesn't matter. Everything, you do a crisscross pattern. Always keep low torque on your impacts, and finish the rest with a torque wrench. Factory specs. All right. So I think factory specs. Just barely tap it. That's good. Factory specs, I think, call for 30-ish on housing. Let's see. 35. I'll go back here in a second and double check the torque specs. I think GM calls for 30, 35. But we're going to find out again here in just a second. Once you get most of them, almost all of them torqued at least once, then you go in a circular pattern, just like everything else. One of these days, like I said earlier in the video, we're gonna have us a workbench where this stuff differentials and everything will be a lot easier because I'll have a clamp and a holder and holes drilled into the workbench where the differentials will sit there and be a lot easier to hold. So. Okay, torque wrench just went off.
Or died.
Fell asleep. Hold it tight, so
It's on cardboard.
doesn't matter. Keep it from moving. All right. So, real quick, I'm gonna go on here and double check GM's torque specs. Be right back. All right, so got the differential flipped up. We spun the drain plug, fill plug. We just barely got them in for now. We'll tighten that drain plug here in a minute. Driver's side. Double check everything. Everything looks good. There's a snap ring that's built in to the housing. That one's not good enough. Everything's good. Got the new 4-wheel drive solenoid. Everything's good. Everything's new. You good?
Yeah.
All right. Let's get this bad boy put back in. Hold it for just a second. All right. Let's do this. All right, so this pinion, it's the front drive shaft. No, we don't. I ain't worry about that right now. Front drive shaft. This goes that way. This is the driver's side. So this is actually the top, okay? All right, you got it? Because I got to put the bolts in. Watch your head. Watch your head.
Damn.
Watch what you're doing. This gotta go in. The pinion goes in first. Let me take these bolts out real quick. Don't worry about it.
Just need to. It ain't lined up.
Shit.
You got it?
There it goes. No. Give me 1 second.
Got it. Or is it, will it
You
stay?
just hold it right there. Just chill. I gotta get the yoke bolts out.
Hopefully this camera angle's doing good because it's hard to do that and do everything else at the same time. You just want to just get everything threaded in where it needs to be. You got to line up the front drive shaft pinion first, and then we'll line everything else up. So where'd that other bolt go? There's a small right there. All right, so pinion front drive shaft. Get this over here. Push up on it just a little bit. Push up. There's one. Let go on it just a little bit. Alright, that's the bracket bolts. At least it'll hold it for there a second. All right, guys, we've got it stationary. We got the front drive shaft. The yoke is good. We've got these bracket bolts, which are actually part of the housing. Got them halfway threaded in just to hold it. And we're gonna get the rest of these bolts put in. Be back in a few. Maybe 15 flex. All right. So 23. All right, so we got all the bolts tightened for the differential. Gotta get up here and put all these plugs back in. I don't know if y'all can see, I'm trying my damnedest. All right, so trying to get all these, all your sensor plugs and everything plugged back in. Make sure you get them in with the locks in. This one's giving me a fit, so give me a second. I'm gonna have to get up in here and get this little tab unlocked. All right, everybody, make sure you go through just like we just did. You've got your 2 main bolts over here that hold your differential to the frame. You've got your yoke, front drive shaft. You've got 2 on each side, boom, boom. Over here, you've got your 3 bolts that mount to the housing. Then you've got your big boy bushing and arm that holds it. And then over here, you've got one up here. I hope you can see it, but you got one right here, boom, boom. And then you got 3 plugs, 3 sensors, whatever, on this side. And then on this side, you've got your breather hose, and then you've got your 4-wheel drive solenoid plug. So, which we got to figure out where this thing mounted at. But you always want to take care of that stuff. We're going to get on to putting the axles back in and get this bad boy back together. All right, so now this truck has a lift kit, so we have to put the spacers in and then put the axle nuts all back in, both sides. We gotta get the spacers put in. Line it up. Get the bolts.
Yeah.
I'll hold it. You just put the bolts in. Just get them started and we'll finish with it. Go the opposite side. Always go opposite. Because once you lock it in, then you're good. And everybody always put screw your bolts in by hand as much as possible, especially if you're using an impact. But we try to use sockets for the most part. On your big stuff, you can use an impact, but make sure that you thread it halfway in at least by hand before you ever use any kind of impact. Because if the threads ain't started good, you'll rip them out real quick. Did you already put the other ones in?
That side?
Where's the passenger side?
Right there.
Yeah, these lift kits, you gotta have spacers to change the angle. I know that Toyota sitting right over there right now, that rough country lift kit is not a good lift kit. Put it on a few years ago, it sucks because all they're doing is taking a 4-inch lift kit and stretching it. So make sure, man, you're getting quality lift kits. This one has rough country, but it's a lot better than the one for the Toyota. Here soon, we're probably going to be putting a new lift on the Toyota, so stay tuned for that. We've also got a huge project. We're actually going to go ahead and swap out for the new Rough Country 2.0 shocks and struts on this truck. We're going to put new axles, water pump, a few other things, so stay tuned to that. Stay tuned to the channel for that build.
You have to torque these in.
Yeah. Ow, son of a gun. Here, just get them started and we'll go back and tighten them here in a minute. Then come over and get these. You'll need one hand over there. Get over here and get these. Here.
Ain't wanting to bite.
You gotta make sure it's lined up. You gotta hold it and make sure it's lined up first.
Here, should be lined up now.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're getting all these axle bolts with the spacers and stuff back in, and almost done with this bad boy. We'll refill the differential with Diff oil, the gear oil, and put this bad boy back together. Finally. All right, everybody. All bolts are tightened. Axle bolts. We got our spacers in there. Then your axle bolts are tightened. All the differential bolts are tightened. Both sides. Boom, boom. Now we're going to refill the differential. We use a pump. We use the Lucas 80W90 gear oil, and then it's trans and diff lube, and we're gonna pump that in there real quick. It's thick stuff. You just keep refilling this, keep filling it up until it starts running out of your fill plug. We're gonna bypass that, it's boring. All right, guys, well, we got the differential in. We filled it up till it was running out the drain plug, tightened the drain plug. Now the wheel's going back on here in just a second. About over with. Well. Camera lens is dirty, but Silverado's back on the ground. Front diff is in. Let's get it. Let it rip, tater chip.